We investigated where to buy the 5 best apples in the UK, and what we found is genuinely shocking. The apple in your fruit bowl was picked months ago, that's right, not days ago, months. It is July right now, and Britain's apple season does not start until September, so there is not one new season British apple in the country. Every apple on that shelf has either sat in a sealed, low-oxygen store, gassed with a compound that switches off its ripening, the longest of them close to a year, or been shipped in from the other side of the world, and legally, nobody has to tell you the date an apple was harvested. And storage is only the first trick. One apple on that shelf was bred so hard to look good that the flavour was bred out of it. Another isn't even a real variety, it's a brand name, and you pay well over the odds for the sticker. Stick with me to the end and you will walk into your next shop knowing exactly which apples to reach for, which to leave on the shelf, and the one supermarket whose name is going to keep coming up. And not because they sell the best apples. Let's start with the one that travels furthest, the Braeburn. Pick one up today, in July, and here is what you are actually holding. British Braeburns are picked in October. It is now July. So that fresh Braeburn was either grown here last autumn and held in cold store for the best part of a year, or it was shipped in from the Southern Hemisphere, South Africa, New Zealand, Chile. The shop that hides that best is Tesco. Look at the origin line on Tesco's own loose Braeburn, and it does not name a country. It lists up to 14 of them. Argentina, Chile, Germany, South Africa, New Zealand, and 10 more. One bin, 14 possible passports. You physically cannot tell how far that apple travelled or how long it has been in storage, because the label is built so you cannot. So do not buy your Braeburn loose from a bin that could be anywhere. Buy it in its real season, autumn into winter, and buy it from Aldi. Aldi buys more British apples than any supermarket in the country, close to a quarter of all the British apples our growers sell on a tenth of the market. When there is a fresh British Braeburn to be had, that is where the odds are best. A Braeburn in July is not fresh. It is just patient. Quick thing before the next one. If this is already changing how you will shop, hit the like button. Hyping a video is the single strongest signal you can send YouTube to put this in front of more shoppers. Next, the biggest con on your money. Pink Lady. Because Pink Lady is not a variety of apple at all. It is a brand name, a trademark, stamped on an apple actually called Crips Pink. And here is the part that stings. Industry figures suggest around 65% of that crop fails the brand's own beauty test. Not pink enough, not sweet enough, and gets sold cheaper, unbranded, as plain Crips Pink. Same tree, same apple. 2 prices. You are paying a clear premium for a pink sticker and nothing else. And I will show you exactly how much in a second. And in July, every single Pink Lady is imported, because the British ones are not around until winter. The worst place to pay that tax is Tesco, where a Pink Lady runs about 78 pence an apple. Dearer than Iceland, dearer than Asda, and nearly 70% more than Tesco's own loose Gala, sitting 3 feet away. So, if you love that apple, do this. Wait for the British Pink Lady from Marks & Spencer in the winter, when it is weeks off the tree instead of months at sea. And if you want one today, Aldi's are the cheapest fresh, about a third of Tesco's price. Now the best-selling apple in Britain. The Gala. It is grown in nearly a third of our orchards, which is exactly why it is the one they cut the most corners on. Here is what months in cold store does to a Gala. That low oxygen storage suppresses the aromatic compounds that give the apple its flavour. That is not an opinion, it is in the science. Push it out toward a year in store and the flavour fades and the flesh turns soft and cottony. That bland, watery Gala you think is simply what Gala tastes like is a stored ghost of a fresh one. Now look at where it comes from. A shelf survey found that at Tesco, at the very peak of the British apple season, just under 17% of the Gala on its shelves was British. More than 8 in 10 of it imported. Flown and shipped in while British Gala sat in cold store down the road. Marks & Spencer, that same week, that same survey, 100% British. So do not buy a bland, well-travelled Gala from Tesco. Buy it British and loose from M&S and eat it in autumn when it has genuinely just been picked. A fresh Gala is a properly good apple. You have just never been sold one. This next one, they gas. The Golden Delicious. That reliable, uniform crunch you get from a Golden Delicious is not freshness. The industry treats these apples with a compound that blocks the ripening signal completely, so the apples simply cannot go soft for up to a year. One major supermarket admitted it on the record, describing it as a way to provide apples for longer. Longer, not fresher. And the Golden Delicious is never British. It does not fruit properly in our climate, so everyone is imported. Tesco's own label spells it out. 10 countries listed, not one of them the United Kingdom. So here is the honest answer for this apple. There is no good version to send you to because a genuinely fresh British Golden Delicious basically does not exist. So do not buy it. Swap it. If you want that sweet mellow apple, buy a loose British Cox or an Egremont Russet from Waitrose in the autumn. A real apple off a real tree, not one held in suspended animation since last year. That crunch was never freshness. It was chemistry. Which brings us to the last one, and the only apple on this list I will tell you flat out never to buy in any form. The Red Delicious. That big, deep red, glossy apple that looks like it fell out of a fairy tale and tastes like wet cardboard. There is a reason for that. For decades it was bred redder and tougher because red sold and a thick skin survived the lorries. But the genes for that deep colour sat right next to the genes for flavour. Breed in the look and you breed out the taste. They literally selected the flavour out of it. It is now regularly ranked one of the worst tasting apples in the world, and it is never British. Always imported, always old. Asda sells it as a permanent, cheap, everyday, loose apple, which is about the only reason anyone still buys the thing. Do not. There is no good version of a Red Delicious. If you want a proper eating apple, reach for a British Cox, an Egremont Russet, a real Gala. Anything with the flavour bred in instead of out. The Red Delicious was built to be looked at, not eaten. So here is the thread running through all 5. Every trick, the gas that stops it, ripening. The year in cold store, the 4,000-mile boat journey, the breeding for looks over taste. Every one of them exists for a single reason. So a shop can sell you the word fresh in a month when nothing is. The apple was never meant to be a year-round product. We just got trained to expect one, and the quality quietly walked out the back door. You get all of it back with one habit. Buy apples in their real season, autumn into winter. Buy them loose so you can see exactly what you are getting. And check the label. If it lists a country far away or 5 countries at once, put it back on the shelf. Fresh in season and close to home beats gassed, stored and shipped every single time. And it is usually cheaper. Tell me in the comments which aisle we should pull apart next. Your suggestions decide what we investigate. Subscribe because we do this every week. Buy your apples in season, buy them loose, and never settle for less than you and your family deserve.